They told us the contract was gone, just like that. 30 years on this line making parts for cars bound for Canada gone overnight. My father did this before me. Now the orders have stopped. The silence in here is deafening. It's not just my job. My town. These are the words off. David Miller, a machine operator from Ohio. His story is echoed across America's industrial heartland. Over the past 18 months, more than 300 major manufacturing contracts have vanished from U.S. factories. These aren't minor losses. They're the lifeblood off communities. This isn't a random downturn. It's the result of a deliberate policy shift by Canada. It is actively reshaping its supply chains, seeking new partners, and building up its own industries. For American factories, the consequences are immediate and severe. The U.S. and Canada have long shared an integrated economy. But that foundation is now being tested. Canada's new approach signals that the old ways of doing business are no longer garant. For workers like David, the impact is already being felt in lost wages and uncertain futures. The ripple effects threaten local businesses and services that depend on factory health. This video will break down what Canada is doing, why, and which American industries are hit hardest. We'll explore the human cost and whether this shift is a temporary problem or a permanent new reality. The stakes are high, and understanding the challenge is first step toward a solution. What's happening north of the border? Canada ice overhauling its national supply chain. For decades, Canadian companions folded to U.S. suppliers. Proximity and trade agreements made it easy. But now, Canada is pursuing diversification and self-reliance, seeing it as vital for long-term security. The government is incentivizing companies to buy Canadian, building up domestic manufacturing and reducing dependence on foreign suppliers. Canada is also forging new trade agreements with Europe and Asia, opening alternative sources for goods. This shift is partly a response to global disruptions like the pandemic, which exposed supply chain vulnerabilities. Canada wants to be a global player, not just a North American partner. Every new contract with Europe or Asia, every new Canadian factory means one less order for U.S. suppliers. American companies, built on stable cross-border trade, are now finding the rule shave changed, and they're on the lost inside. Canada's supply chain overhaul is methodical and multifaceted. First, new regulations on imports, environmental labor, and digital standards make it harder for us factories to compete without costly upgrades. Second, massive investment in domestic industry, billions for electric vehicles, green steel, and sustainable forestry. Canadian companies are incentivized to source locally, directly replacing U.S. suppliers. Set aggressive new trade agreements like the CPTPP and CED open doors to global suppliers, making imports from Europe or Asia cheaper than from the U.S. Finally, Made in Canada campaign builds national pride and encourages consumers to buy local. These steps work together systematically, redirecting business away from U.S. partners. The result? A deliberate, coordinated effort to close a door on traditional American suppliers. The clang is clear. Adapt or be left by it. Canada's strategy is changing the rules of North American trade. Canada's supply chain shift is hitting key U.S. sectors hard. The automotive industry tops the list. Parts manufacturers in Michigan and Ohio have lost dozens of contracts. Canadian assembly plants backed by government entities are sourcing parts domestically or from new global partners. Steel and lumber industries are also suffering. New environmental stands and a push for green Canadian steel have cut American mills out of the market. Timber communities in the Pacific Northwest and Southeast are losing sales as Canadian builders turn to local certified wood. Heavy machinery and equipment manufacturers face cancelled contracts as Canadian firms opt for domestic or European alternatives. Over 60 contracts lost in this sector alone. Each loss means layoffs and production cuts. The Canadian government's push to modernize its industrial base is locking out many American suppliers. Even U.S. food processors are feeling the squeeze as Canada boosts its own food production and encourages consumers to buy local, new labeling laws, and a buy local push-have cost. American food companies doesn't soft supply agreements. Each sector tells same story. A once reliable market is closing its doors. The impact Israel, lost jobs, shuttered businesses, and struggling communities. The message is clear. Us industries must adapt or risk being left behind. Losing a major contract isn't just a business setback, it's a community crisis. Layoffs hit first, leaving skilled workers jobless in towns where the factory is often their largest employer. These jobs support families and local businesses. It's Thiedner, the hardware store, the auto shop will feel the pain. As spending drops, small businesses struggle or close, and main streets empty out. Property values fall, trapping families into cleaning towns. Local governments lose tax revenue, forcing cuts to schools, police, and public services. Community pride fades, replaced by anxiety and uncertainty. Charities see more demands as donations dry up. The loss of a factory contract ripples through every part of town life. Recovery can take decades, if it comes at all. Is the change temporary? All signs point to a permanent shift in Canada's economic strategy. Canada is investing billions in new factories and infrastructure. These are long-term moves, not quick fixes. New trade agreements, like Sudan CPTP, are binding, creating durable supply chains with Europe and Asia. Canadian businesses are building new relationships that will be hard to break. The US is no longer the default supplier, just one option among many. Political support for Made in Canada is strong and bipartisan, making the strategy likely to endure. It's now part of Canada's national identity and economic vision. Globally, countries are diversifying and reducing dependencies. Canada is following this trend. For us, factories competition is now global, and Canada is inviting it in. The old model is gone. This is the new reality. American industry must adapt to survive. The loss of contracts has jolted Washington and the private sector into action. U.S. trade. Officials are pressing Canada on new standards and subsidies. Questioning their compliance with USMCA, the government is reviewing Buy Americopolis and offering support to affected regions. States are creating task forces, offering tax incentives, and investing in workforce retraining. American companies are seeking new domestic customers and exploring export markets in Latin America and the Middle East. Innovation is key. Next-generation products to stay competitive. But adaptation is costly, especially for smaller manufacturers. Some are forming consortiums to pull resources and lobby for stronger trade enforcement. Their response is a mix of government action, state support, and private sector innovation. It's a race against time as Canada's strategy gains momentum. North American industry stands at a crossroads. Canada's push for supply chain independence isn't hostile. It's reshaping the economic landscape. Over 300 lost contracts mean lost jobs and struggling communities in the U.S. The era of assuming stable trade with Canada is over. Without a new strategy, manufacturing will continue to erode, especially in autos, steel, and machinery. The U.S. risks losing its competitive edge on its own continent. This could strain not just the economy, but the broader USC relationship. A proactive response is essential. Robust